There are so many women that have inspired me. I mean, obviously my own mom. She was a kindergarten teacher, and during a time where a lot of moms stayed home and, managed the household. She had 4 children and worked, and my dad and her really managed an incredible amount of work, and my mom was a major driver of that. And very much instilled in all of us the importance of education.
There's so many women who've inspired me. I think we're inspired by the women who nurture us. So for me, my mother, my grandmothers. We're inspired by the women who teach us. I've had many great teachers, professors. We're inspired by the women who mentor us, and I've been really fortunate to have some great women mentors who've helped me along my professional journey, and I think that is so important and critical for women to help women. There's not enough of that, and I think we have to do more of that and make that a priority if we have the opportunity.
What I try to do is, I think, just always try to do my best. I try to speak the truth. I try to be transparent and authentic. And if you look at the way that leaders were 20 years ago, those kinds of traits were not considered leadership traits. And now the traits that are more typically associated with women are considered leadership traits, and in fact, some of the top companies in the world are, in terms of profit, are run by women. So we know that some of the things that women do really work, and so I just try to be myself, but I also try to use the strategies that I know appeal to people and help them do their best work.
Living our purpose and living our values, that provides inspiration to others to do the same. That's how we ensure we have a culture that can help us to achieve our purpose, that we can empower one another to reach our potential. I think I would say that's part of being a serving and compassionate leader. I think those are really important traits, and I hope others find that inspiring and exhibit those traits in themselves, because we're all responsible for living our values, powering our purpose, and building the culture that helps us achieve our goals.
I was one of those people that takes a while to learn how to program the TV, and in the old days, the VCR. And I don't consider technology one of my skill sets, although I've learned a ton. But I rely on my 20-ish sons for all of that kind of thing. Maybe that would surprise people.
Most people wouldn't know that I've actually rappelled down 4 Canadian skyscrapers in different cities across the country. I did it for the organization that I used to work for a children's charity, a cause close to my heart. I was scared and cried every single time, but one of our values at Southlake that I love is the courage to think differently and always serve with purpose, and that's what made me go over the edge. I don't think most people would see me as sort of the adrenaline junkie who would do that kind of thing, but like I said, when I'm in, I'm all in.
Throughout my whole career, I mean, the reason I went into nursing is that I have a capacity to care about people, and so our tagline of being by your side is something that really means a lot to me. It means a lot to me in terms of my personal life and how I support my family, my kids, my parents, my siblings, and people in my community. And it means a lot to me in the context of this job and in all the jobs I've had in healthcare, regardless of the role. I've always taken that really seriously. that it's my job to not only care about myself and what happens, but to care about others and to try and make others' lives better, and that's through healthcare.
In terms of how we need to grow and expand and enhance across many different areas to meet the needs of our growing and diversifying communities, from York Region up to the Muskokas and beyond. I align in wanting to help power that vision by inspiring the community to invest in it.
I think that we've stood out as an organization that has a can-do attitude, whether it is rapidly opening an assessment center, whether it's rapidly opening a vaccination center, and getting people in as quickly as possible and making things happen.
What I've learned about most recently are the community's response to the urgent COVID campaign, which happened back in Wave 1, and how the community came forward to support urgent needs at that time. And since then, the community has come forward to respond positively to the mental health campaign, which is all about enhancing the capacity and the opportunity to provide care that gives people the dignity they need and the space they need to begin their healing journey. I hope the community will continue to respond positively as we focus on completing that campaign this year. But to me, that really demonstrates that this is a symbiotic relationship, that there's reciprocity, and that Southlake is by our side and the community is by Southlake's side. And that is something that I think is inspiring and we can all be proud of.
I'm going to go back really, really early in my leadership career, and it was in my first frontline manager job. And we had gone through, it was back in BC, we'd gone through a very difficult time. There were a number of labor union strikes, and we were working very long hours. And I was being perceived as a bit of a negative Nelly. I was pretty upset with other levels of the organization who I didn't think were contributing as much effort. And my mentor, who was my very first head nurse, pulled me aside and said, "Look, sis, like it's okay for you to be upset, but you've got a long career ahead of you, and how people perceive you is really important. And the main thing that you want to be is you want people to really hear you. And the way that you can interact with them to get them to hear you isn't necessarily to speak louder, and it is to be really articulate, to be really well informed, and to be really respectful."
There have been a few pivotal moments. I think every time one is able to progress, fulfill an aspiration, it's a milestone moment. For me, that's about being able to contribute and make a meaningful difference. And so having transitioned from the private sector in law into the not-for-profit and the charitable sector, that was a pivotal moment. And then progressing and continuing to grow as a professional and take on new challenges, those were pivotal moments.
I think Southlake has an exciting few years up ahead of it. We've known for a long time that ever since I've been here that we've been a really congested site. We've got more demand than we have capacity. I think that we've been really, really innovative in terms of trying to do things differently, to try to keep people well and out of hospital, to get them out of hospital sooner and safe in their homes. Southlake at Home is an example of that, but we really, really need a new development, and so the master plan is really important to us. We've been advocating a lot for it. My hope is that we very soon get an announcement around the planning dollars so that we can at least get started. It's going to be several years, but having that hope on the horizon is important. I think that once we really start to see the decline of COVID and we sort of get more into regular operations, I'm looking forward to catching up on a lot of the activities that have really suffered during COVID, such as surgeries and other procedures. And I'm really looking forward to really getting into our Ontario Health team. And you know, we've made some progress over this period of time, some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, but you know, in the next few years, we're really going to be looking at different programs and services and how we can put those into play, and what working in an integrated fashion could be like.
For me, what's next is being able to work within the Southlake community to inspire the investment that we need to deliver the leading edge care that our communities deserve.
So there's some really good shows out there. I'm a huge Ozark fan. I just love that series. It's so good. And Succession is my other one. Really, really like riveting drama. And both of those are in filming right now, so I can hardly wait for them to come out.
Queen of the South, Wentworth, Animal Kingdom, Homeland. I like those sort of suspenseful dramas. But if I'm looking for lighter fare, if I'm just too tired to think or something like that, then maybe something like Emily in Paris, just to have a little lighter fluff at the end of a long day.
Oh no, absolutely not. Never.
Okay.
I know it's a really Canadian thing, but I don't like the sweet and savory together very much, unless it is Asian. So like if I have Thai food that has a mixture of sort of sour, sweet, salty, and spicy, then I like that, but I don't like pineapple on pizza.
Definitely no. Pizza should be savory. That's only one woman's opinion. Mediterranean, lots of feta, lots of Greek herbs, and thin crust with roasted vegetables. Makes me hungry just thinking about it.
Ordinarily, you know, my husband and I like to get on, you know, our bikes and go out biking, and we like the outdoors and walking the dog and all of that stuff. I have really tried, the house that we bought when we moved here literally had nothing in the backyard, so I've been doing a lot of gardening and planting and trying to make things green and pretty. And improvements on the house. I really love to cook. I mostly a savory cook, but I really got into the British baking show during COVID, and so I've started to learn how to make cakes and bread and stuff like that. And my husband fancies himself quite a sommelier, so he does the wine pairings.
I really like to be outdoors all seasons, hiking, biking, walking. I've taken up paddleboarding. I'm not very good at it, spend a lot more time in the water than on the paddleboard, but I like it a lot. I like to do all those things with my family. I'm an avid skier, and so I'm looking forward to getting on the slopes again.
You know, normally we would go to the theater and to shows and concerts and see our friends, and I'm really missing that, just like everybody else is, and above all, really missing my parents who are in BC.
I am social by nature. I'm a social creature, so I really just miss being around people and being around colleagues. It's very different to come to work when you don't have your colleagues around.
So we'll probably be running, and I'm really looking forward to that. You know, right now, any activity is good. So sometimes, you know, we have a spin bike at home, and so sometimes we'll get on that. But I just encourage everybody to just do whatever, you know, makes them happy, and that you can do with the weather. Sometimes running isn't so easy because of ice, but yeah, that's what I'll be doing.
So my goal is to go the full distance. I love that this year, the Run for Southlake being virtual, you can choose to do whatever you want. So I'm going to probably do a combination of walking, hiking, biking. So I'd love to encourage everyone to join me. I'm the captain of the Fundraising Furies, which is a combination of the foundation team and board and anyone who wants to join us. I'd love to have people join us in going the distance, in raising as much funds as we can, and in having fun. And if you want to learn more, you can go to runforsouthlake.ca.